Hi, ho there everybody! Barry here, and if you know me, my weird small online presence of sharing my special interests, you might heard me talk or make fan art for a sort of small indie rhythm horror game series by the title Nekomew. This game means a whole bunch to me, both as a person and creatively, and I really want to make this video to go over both games so far, before the next one comes out to appreciate my love for it. Ever since Nekomew's Nightmares came out back in 2022, for almost 3 years, I've been making a lot of fan art, fan games. I mean, not yet. I'll reveal that soon, but just in general fan content for it, and I really want to make this video just to share my love and appreciate how well these games are only made by one guy. However, this game also has the unfortunate reputation in the English community, mainly the English game community, for being lumped in with a lot of weird stuff and being called something that it isn't without people looking more into it. So I wanted to make this video to both clarify what the games are really about and the combat misinformation that unfortunately tainted this franchise over the years. Before we start though, this game covers topics relate to child abuse, so if that triggers you, these games are not for you. Nothing gets too graphic, but it's heavily implied throughout the story. Also, be sure to support Pikewin, the developer of the Nekomew games, with his future Nekomew series entries and future other games and music. The games, his Ko-fi, and his Twitter will be linked down below so you can keep your eyes peeled. With that out of the way, let's get into the hidden gem that is the Nekomew series. So those who are new to this, Nekomew consists of 2 games so far, Nekomew's Potty Trouble and Nekomew's Nightmares, with a 3rd game coming in mid-development. These are both indie rhythm horror games created by a Spanish dude named Pikewin, who before making these games was working on various other remixes for video game music, making original artwork, original music, and music for other games. He also has various other games he worked on under his portfolio, such as Sin Blanca, which I recommend, it's a hilarious game, I love it so much, Roll Pairs, and 6 Chambers of Dice. These games consist of a little kitten named Nekomew waking up from a nightmare each night to go to the bathroom, as he faces living manifestations of the nightmares that try to scare the crap out of him. To prevent having an accident, you have to traverse through long hallways and defend yourself with your magical talking doll. But while all this is happening, disappearances are happening all over the town Nekomew lives in, as 3 mysterious characters are looking to find him. I'll go more into that later. Okay, I know some of you are wondering, oh Barry, isn't this a baby fur ABDL fetish horror game? And to that I say, no, it's not. It's not fetish bait, it's not meant for that audience at all. Nekomew's Potty Trouble was never intended to be a fetish game, despite contrary belief. Pikewin has stated in the official Discord server for the game that he does not like his characters being put in sexual situations, no matter their age. And when he was making Potty Trouble, he didn't even know that people were into this stuff sexually. He has also acknowledged that the claim is easily avoidable, as the games themselves have 0 sexual content in them. It genuinely sucks because the games themselves are so underrated and fun for only being made by one guy, yet the fact that it's known for such a baseless claim makes me unbelievably upset. I wanted to get this out of the way because I know a lot of outsiders may see Nekomew as this obscure furry fetish bait game, and in reality it isn't. I just wanted to clear the air out for what the games are instead of frame it for shit that it isn't, you know? But anyway, let's get down to actually talking about Potty Trouble and what it actually is about. Editor's note, I forgot to mention the tutorial. So the game opens up with Nekomew moving into a new house with his 2 dog parents that don't have a name, and they get acquainted with the house. Nekomew finds Doll, and we go through a tutorial sequence that teaches you how the basic game works. Nekomew's dad teaches him how to find his way to the bathroom while covering his ears, eyes, and flashing him with the talking doll before the mom calls them down to start adjusting the house, taking out furniture. I just wanted to make sure I had that in because that all provides a lot of context to the game. Also, the tutorial also mentions that this will be the last time Nekomew will have peace in his short life, and I think that's really funny but also concerning at the same time. Like, excuse me, he's gonna die? Night 1 introduces Mrs. Paloma, a social worker pigeon who is in a nightmare where she tells Nekomew to come with her for unknown reasons. The way she works is simple. You have to step to the beat of her theme that plays when she appears in your vicinity. Failure to do so leads into a jump scare. This is her theme song. Let's do a quick detour before I get into the other guys. From Night 2 and onwards, cutscenes play that shows us what's going on in the real world. Night 2 begins with a cutscene of a cat in a hood, the same cat from when we get a game over, sniffing around the neighborhood before running into a nearby house that isn't our protagonist's house, don't worry. Night 2 introduces the car, which opens up in a cutscene that shows some sort of car accident with somebody apologizing, saying that they didn't see age. Gender of the person being ambiguous, for now, which causes Nekomew to spiral and wake up. The car's a simple character. When it appears, it plays a 2-note honking cue, count down from 3, and then flash them. Night 3 opens up with Nekomew's foster father, walking down the street when he comes across a missing poster, further hinting at the missing kids plot. What's up with indie games and having missing kids? For some it may seem out of place, but don't worry, there's a major reason behind all of this. My second favorite character, the photographer, the penguin with the attitude, is our enemy for the night. I also have a shoulder crush on this character amongst another one, but shh, don't tell. His nightmare opens up with him ranting about how he's sick of his job as a photographer, rambling about how the overabundance of deaths he has to constantly document, making him aggravated, until he spots Nekomew, berating him, again causing him to spiral and wake up. His mechanic is undoubtedly the second hardest to some people that played the game in the past. The photographer appears with a flash, one of him waving, and then 6 steps later he does a second flash where he walks back that signals that you need to close your eyes now. Step 6 to 8 times and he'll be dealt with. Failure to do so and then you'll get jump scared. Night 4 does not have a cutscene, it just gets us straight into Nekomew's quote-unquote nightly torture labyrinth. And it opens up with another nightmare, hitting us with a CPS investigation. We get a glimpse of Nekomew's former mother, a character that will be important later. In this cutscene, she confronts the police. As she confronts them, she tells them that this is her home and whatever say goes. In which the police respond that they deal too often with people like her. Nekomew starts to spiral, overhearing the argument before things go silent. Until we get a small, "Here you are," from the policeman before a jump scare which causes Nekomew to wake up. Our monster tonight is one of the police officers who is a brute anglerfish, having an antenna instead of, despite being a male. The policeman has to be the most frustrating enemy because he can attack you from both the front and the back, which can be a problem for some players when it comes to later nights. He opens up a door for a quick second. If you're looking, he can go back in and attack when she passes him, but if you aren't, he goes straight for the kill. Still, once he wants to reward you, flash him with the doll. Night 4 introduces the carer, a daycare attendant wasp who tells Nekomew that it's his last day in the orphanage. Then she gets about him on his missing sister, saying that it's too bad that she isn't here with him, causing Nekomew to once again spiral, wake up, doll comforts him, and goes to the bathroom. The caretaker flies by a few times, and you have to flash 3 times with the doll in order to get rid of her. Night 5 introduces my personal favorite character that I'm totally not biased about because he's my favorite and I love him so much. I'm totally normal about him. His name is Rui Rat, or the nurse. Before his debut, we once again snap back to Nekomew's parents, checking up on them as Nekomew's having a play date with a friend on a stormy night. While they play, Nekomew's parents are worried about him, seeing how he trembles under the blanket every night and is drawing gruesome drawings of him being killed by the nightmares. The two decide that they should take him to a child psychologist later on in the week. Then we cut back to another nightmare sequence. Ambulance sirens roar, and Rui is repeatedly doing CPR on somebody, supposedly the car crash victim. He does this until he has a breakdown, repeatedly saying that it doesn't work, as both he and Nekomew spiral. Rui works like this. He appears a random number of times. Depending on the number of times, you have to count the amount of droplets to the beat. Make sure to memorize the beat of his audio cues before flashing. Lots of people struggle with this guy, and honestly, he's not that hard once you get to him. Plus, he's cute. I want to be his friend. He's silly. We're getting close to the end of story mode now, with Night 6, as it introduces Piero the Clown. I'm gonna keep the daytime cutscene short because it kind of serves no purpose compared to the actual nightmare. It's just his parents being worried again and then deciding to take Nekomew out for lunch outside. This nightmare follows Nekomew, supposedly in the hospital, as two doctors told him that his mother told them that he fell down the stairs. Nekomew never told them a word, so they sent in Piero, who tries to cheer him up but ultimately fails, scaring him instead. Piero is very simple. He creeps up behind you. If you hear a squeak or two, look behind you and you got him. I forgot to mention, this night, once you head to the bathroom to use it, we have, Pikewin. What the hell is that? Honestly, the most terrifying thing in the game. It's honestly really funny, but at the same time, holy crap. Here we are, the last night of the game. The head honcho of them all. Night 7 takes place on August 31st, Nekomew's 5th birthday, and fun fact, his canonical birthday, as Potty Trouble was originally released on August 31st. All of his friends are coming to celebrate. One friend remarks that another one was supposed to come and speculates that he's sick, implying that that friend might have gotten kidnapped. Then we see the parents reminiscing about the weekend. The father worries about Nekomew as his wife comforts him about the situation, telling him that they'll try to give Nekomew the best birthday ever, trying the hard just for him. They eventually take the cake out and sing happy birthday to him until a familiar face runs by the window. The cat from the Game Over sequence again. Their presence causes Nekomew to faint, starting the night with a cutscene I'll just let play. The character that was shown was Nekomew's previous mother, berating a sibling and Nekomew himself, threatening that she won't hurt him in reality that she will, suggesting that Nekomew was previously living in an abusive household where his mother physically abused him and his sibling. Terrible stuff. I feel bad for that little guy. Once the main gameplay starts again, no new characters are here, as we deal with the main nightmares under a massive thunderstorm. What's different is that randomly, a face of a red cat shows up, this also being Nekomew's mother. Her presence is here. Once you make it to the bathroom, you finish using it and then make it out alive. Finally! But the level doesn't end there. Instead of cutting to the next level, you have to walk a little bit before... This is where the final boss begins. Your bladder meter is replaced with a blood meter, and you have to traverse the hallway while avoiding Nekomew's abusive mother, whose appearance looks battered, disgruntled, and... does she have horns? There are also kidnapped, bagged children with bags for their heads, trying to stop you as you pull closer to her as they sing to you ominously. Eventually, you make it to your foster parents who are screaming, trying to find you as a QuickTime event appears. You have to make it out alive by jumping over a hole by clicking to the beat. If you do, the parents catch you, pulling you to safety as you successfully make it out alive, leaving the fate of Nekomew's abusive mom and kidnapped children ambiguous until the sequel. We do not know if she burnt alive in the fire, or she was probably a part of his imagination. It's going to be ambiguous until the game comes out either way. The game ends with the three getting into the ambulance, getting driven to the hospital. But before they know it, the hooded cat's back, stalking them on top of the ambulance, before the credits begin to roll. And that was Nekomew's Potty Trouble, a bizarre game about a cat needing to go while facing his trauma until the scariest thing to him comes back to get him. But I know some of you may have some questions like, who's the hooded cat? Why is the mom a demon? And so forth and so on. Well, my dear viewers, that's all answered in Extra Mode! Yeah, that's right. Extra Mode consists of 5 different extra modes that change up the gameplay but also provide cool extra cutscenes that are in the perspective of the antagonist of our story. Rando Tempo, our first extra level, has a cutscene that follows Nekomew's abusive mom and a mysterious cult leader goat that gives her a book that she needs to quote-unquote give her body and soul to for an agreement part. If she accepts, she'll be able to find Nekomew with this dark magic book. Already pretty ominous. Giving your soul away to some random dude to find your child instead of filing papers? Crazy work. The next extra level, Wimp, has a cutscene that follows Mom going through the book, showcasing chapters that list unalterable things in living beings. One of them being the smell of urine and how it helps animals detect their prey. Seems like the pee aspect of the game actually has lore relevance, I guess. The cutscene ends off with a chapter called Nightmare Creation for Infants, suggesting that the nightmares are hallucinations created by Mom to scare the pants off of Nekomew, to get him to have an accident, so she can track him down and get him once and for all. Our third cutscene for the level Purgatrol follows the hooded cat and Mom. Seems like the hooded kitty's working alongside with her. The mom demands of the cat to go sniff around the neighborhood for any sign of urine during the night and capture the child and bring it to her while she practices the ritual and creates nightmares that spread across the entire neighborhood. The hooded cat, although surprisingly reluctant about this, complies to Mom's words anyway as she berates them, setting them off as Mom performs the ritual in a very ominous cutscene. The ritual, fun fact, is also implied to change her appearance the more she does it. Hence why, in the final level of the game, she has demon horns in her most recent appearance. She really did give her body and soul to that goat. Fourth cutscene from the level Light with Lag is short, only following the hooded cat after they kidnap a random kid. Mom is extremely upset at the fact that it is Nekomew, and demands that they are put with the others, implying that all the kidnapped children are being used for the ritual. Our final cutscene is from the level Crazy, which opens up with Mom reminiscing about Nekomew and how he turned 5 today. The hooded cat comes in and drops the most surprising plot twist ever. The hooded cat calls her her mother. The hooded cat is Nekomew's sibling and Mom's daughter. Yeah, that's Nekomew's sister, who surprisingly turned up against him. She also did work with Mom despite her reluctance to do so. It's crazy. She tells Mom that she walked in on a party today, with many children, Nekomew being one of them. Mom revels in this information, telling her daughter to start the ritual while she goes out to find Nekomew. She says, if everything goes wrong, it will be her fault. Manipulation at its finest. The daughter hesitantly replies as Mom calls her a good girl before walking out to get Nekomew back. Our current ending, which is the ending of story mode, suggests that the mom fails and the sister decides to go finish the job by going after Nekomew. The plot will be continued in the upcoming quote-unquote other stuff, as Pikewin and us fans call it. What I find extremely amazing is how Nekomew's mom, even when she's without Nekomew, shows many signs of abusive behavior to her own daughter. I find that extremely interesting as it adds to her character a lot, showing that even after she got arrested and her children's taken away, she never changed one bit. And that was Nekomew's Potty Trouble, and the story so far. Fun fact, this game is based off of Pikewin's personal experience as a child with going to the bathroom at night, being scared of what lurks in the dark. This game, bizarre yet fun. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I love this game a lot. The OST slaps, and even though the subject material may not be for everybody, it's used tastefully. As much as I love to recommend this game, I do think that the difficulty brings it down a lot for me, as the gameplay in later nights gets a little too overstimulating. However, if Potty Trouble wasn't your cup of tea, 4 years later, a spin-off game that came out that recontextualizes the events of the game with even more fun gameplay, an awesome soundtrack, and how it builds off events that Nekomew went through, That game is...
Step to the beat. Dodge to the beat. And attack to the beat. In Nekomew's Nightmares.
Nekomew's Nightmares, the game that got me into this whole situation in the first place, released on October 28th, 2022, and is the most recent entry in the Nekomew series, taking on a more traditional and arcade rhythm style like Rhythm Heaven. Originally starting as a non-canon spin-off where Nekomew stands in the middle of his bedroom, and nightmares appear and pop up from the corner of the screen, Nightmares quickly turned into a canon spin-off that takes inspiration from Rhythm Heaven, having over 80 levels, new minigames such as the basement, nightmare blocks, and cake game, new story reveals that clear up a lot of stuff about the first game, player levels, and most of all, an amazing, vast OST that's so good, please listen to it. If you aren't a fan of Potty Trouble because of subject material, I'd recommend Nightmares as an alternative. It has the same story as the first game, but with different gameplay, tons of replayability, leaving this cult side plot out because the game primarily takes place in Nekomew's mind and is speculated to take place during the main gameplay of Potty Trouble. I'm gonna make this section short because it's practically the same story with better gameplay, but here's some stuff about the game that is extremely notable when it comes to the story of the game. For example, the memory cutscenes. The memories cutscenes are cutscenes that are purchasable after you defeat a nightmare, showing some of the story beats from the first game but in a whole new light. For example, Memories of the Car finally explains what happened to the victim of the car crash. The plumber from the first game, who I told you you're going to be seeing a little later, was friends with Nekomew's father, as they're shown fixing a pipe, while Nekomew plays with his little blocks. As soon as the plumber finishes the job and walks out, Nekomew follows, walking across the street to see the construction site. Nekomew's dad, noticing that the door is open, follows him, runs after him, and gets run over, confirming that the victim was indeed Nekomew's father. The perpetrator is still unknown, but the event causes a domino effect, causing Nekomew's mom to become abusive and drunk, as seen in the Memories of Mom cutscene. In Memories of Mrs. Paloma and Memories of the Policeman, it shows that Nekomew was forced to hide in the basement closet while his sister ditched him and ran away, implying that later down the line she meets up or was probably found by Mother when she started going to the cult leader. In the level titled That Place, we see a glimpse of Nekomew's life in the orphanage. He meets a cute little duck that plays ball with him, but he does get bullied by 3 wolf pups. And the final fun fact about this game is that there's a secret cutscene achievement that can be unlocked in the cutscene called The Awakening. The cutscene that plays before the final boss. To unlock this achievement, you must own a copy of Nekomew's Potty Trouble that allows you to get the Dark Nekomew skin. Equip that, go into the cutscene, and you'll get an alternative version of the ending where Mom guilt trips Nekomew, boiling down her actions to just wanting to be with him. Honestly, a shit move from her when you realize that she's actively being harmful to him with the cult stuff. Other than that, there's nothing too notable about Nightmare's story-wise. It's practically just the same story but from a different perspective, but I do recommend playing the game yourself. The game will only take like an hour or 3 if you want 100% it. It's really fun. Look at my Steam achievements. I'm like almost finished 100%ing the game. If you're broke, however, please just go listen to the soundtrack on Pikewin's YouTube channel. Generally one of my favorite video game soundtracks ever. For a game being made by only one guy, his musical talent shows, especially in this game. It's amazing.
Running out on the road, there is a car, and it is going to hit me!
Hi, editor's note again. I forgot to put the lore synopsis in the video, so I'm gonna do that now because I think that nobody will probably get the lore, so I'm gonna explain it like those cool lore videos. But Nekomew previously lived with his mother, his older sister, and his dad. Later down the line, his dad was working with his colleague, the plumber, who was basically working on pipes at that time with him. Plumber leaves, the door is wide open, Nekomew's playing with his blocks, he gets curious and seeing the construction work outside, walks outside, his father sees him, runs towards him and gets ran over. The mom's devastated, the plumber's devastated, we do not know the perpetrator, and Nekomew is traumatized by seeing his father die in real time, so he hides behind a mailbox. The photographer finds him, yells at him while he witnesses his dad fail fail from heart palpitations and die because Rui was trying to give him CPR. Eventually, the mother spiraled into a drunken and abusive state, abusing both the older sister and Nekomew, to the point where it comes to a point where Nekomew got pushed down the stairs and ended up in the hospital, where he met Piero the clown. Eventually, Mrs. Paloma, who is a fairgoer from time to time, coming to Nekomew's mom's house to just chill and chat while Nekomew's mom finds her genuinely annoying, comes in with adoption papers, takes Nekomew in for a while as the police comes and arrests Nekomew's mother. Nekomew's older sister, however, ran away as she told Nekomew to hide in the closet, causing the policeman to find him and take him away and arrest his mother. The whereabouts of the sister is unknown, and it's presumably implied that she does go missing throughout the story before we get to the main events of Potty Trouble and Nightmares. But Miss Paloma takes in Nekomew for a long while until she decides to put him up for adoption, which takes him to the daycare attendant, the caretaker. He meets friends, he meets enemies, and eventually gets adopted by 2 dogs, which leads to Potty Trouble and nightmares, as Nekomew has nightmares over and over again, reminding him of his previous life, going to the bathroom at night, fighting off against these hallucinations just to make to the bathroom, before the end of the game, where Nekomew's mom, who has joined the cult, the sister, who is the game over enemy for the games, she is unwillingly working with mom to go find and track down Nekomew. She does not want to be here, but she's doing her mom's orders anyway. And she joined the cult. They both joined the cult in order to summon nightmares for the entire town, make kids pee themselves so they can track down Nekomew easily, even though that's not easy. You don't know, I don't know how cats work. I'm pretty sure, the pee thing is there because of, cats and how some animals track down each other so you can identify an animal, what type of breed they are, who they are by their scent. So they're using that to go find Nekomew. At the end of the game, though, the house ends up being on fire due to the thunderstorm. Nekomew successfully gets out alive, and the parents go to the hospital, and to be continued. Until the next game, which is not coming out for a while. I'm not saying that because Pikewin has been actively updating us, and the game's actually halfway done. Just gotta get all the translation stuff done. Don't quote me on that though! But yeah, Nekomew lore, yay! Okay, on to the next part of the video. Before I wrap this video up, I do want to mention the sequel to Potty Trouble and Nightmares. A lot of fans, both English and Spanish, do not know that the sequel is still in development. But recently, starting from October of 2023, Pikewin, in the official fan server, has been sharing both images and audio teasers of environments, characters, and music from the upcoming game. Here are some of them. We don't know when the game's coming out or what it's called. The inside joke that we have is calling it Utter Stuff. But other than that, all we know is that it picks up from where Potty Trouble left off as we follow Nekomew and his family to the hospital. It is confirmed that all the nightmares will be coming back, plus new antagonists, like this dolphin nurse that Pikewin teased a while back. And pretty sure Mom's coming back too. Of course she is. But for now, we're still waiting for the game to come out. Anyway, that was my sort of retrospective, but half ramble on the Nekomew series so far. I really hope I can at least crush some misinformation and fears people have the game. Just spread the word about it. This game means a whole bunch to me. I really want to talk more about it, but unfortunately, due to what people say about the game and how unfairly it's been treated by the internet, I get a little scared to talk about it, because on the surface level, it's really not. It looks like one, but it isn't a fetish bait game. It's genuinely a really respectful game about how abuse can mess up younger children mentally, and I tend to gravitate towards stories about abuse because I kind of find some aspects of it relatable, and it helps me feel sympathy for some of the protagonists. Please, if you want to, go support Pikewin, either financially or spreading the word on the games. He's genuinely a nice guy and a huge inspiration to me. He's so awesome. He works on the games all by himself, and I genuinely respect that. With that out of the way, I'm Barry, and I'll see you whenever. Have a toontastic day, everyone!